Hey, Softwave University. I'm so excited to have with us today Dr. Kale Matovich. Dr. Kale has over 20 plus years in the chiropractic profession. The last several years, he's been coaching hundreds of doctors around the country through the remarkable practice. Kale, I was so lucky to meet you 2 years ago, and I pitched this to you a couple of years ago, and you just weren't ready for it at that time, were you?
Well, it's true. Yeah, I wasn't ready for it. We had a pretty significant focus in our practice. We have a very wellness-oriented focus in our practice, and we adjust people. That's what we do in my practice. It's a big practice, and that's what we do. So this seemed a little bit out there for me, but I had heard a lot of great things and seen colleagues having great results. So yeah, the last couple of years I did some deeper dives, and in fact saw my clients in the remarkable practice and some of the results that they were getting, and thought, gosh, I need to look deeper at this. So then we got to talking again.
Yeah, let me just, the discipline involved in the numbers that you see in chiropractically in your office. Can you share with us like some of the numbers you guys are doing per week?
Yeah, in terms of our patient volume per week.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we have a big practice. We see, I mean, I guess that's relative. We see between 700 and 800 visits a week, chiropractic visits, plus other things. We've got other modalities in our office, but yeah,
Yeah, you
that's
have two physios, couple chiros.
physios.
I mean, you had it. And again, a student of life for my entire life, being a chiropractor 30 years, I love to learn from really intelligent and people who are disciplined. And you've done that, right? I mean, you're in the 0.5% of all of our profession. And I didn't bug you. I knew like to go. I mean, I think you were seeing 500 or 600 when I met you 2 years ago. And to go for those numbers is just, extraordinary and something that I wanted to see for myself. And so I was lucky enough to come out and train you. I mean, and Calgary is a beautiful city. There's 1.2 million people. I knew that we would hit the ground running just from internal marketing. And I was blown away. I still remember the numbers. The first day we were there, we saw 15 of your existing patients, and you guys signed up 14.
Yep.
And then the next 5 days, you signed up another 15 for 15. So you went 29 for 30. You did better when I left the building.
I don't think that was why, but yeah, I mean, our conversion rates were excellent, right? And I mean, the results were incredible. That's really, I think, why we had such a good success coming right out of the gates. The results are just, they kind of speak for themselves. So they're good.
Predictable patient outcomes. That's what I talk about. And I think the first 5 weeks, you did over 12,000 a week.
Yep. Yep.
And,
We're now
and,
how many
and
weeks past that?
yeah, I don't even know how far along we are now. I stopped counting at 12 at 6 weeks or 5 weeks. But what I loved was even at this end of your second full week, you had 40 Softwave patients on the books and 10
Yeah.
new patients. Can you speak on that a little?
Yeah, and we hadn't even started our marketing at that point. So some of that was people from our tribe, but a lot of it was people that our patients had referred in already. Within the first 2 weeks, we had those patients that we knew already. They came, had a great experience, a great result, and they were all like, it was unusual for someone to leave that first visit and not be saying, "Hey, I got to get my cousin in, or my sister in, or my wife in." Almost everybody had somebody like that. So
They know it.
just
And it just, I mean, and then, I mean, your external marketing is just, I don't even want to go over the numbers because no one will believe it. I'll keep it a little secret between us, but I love the fact that the external marketing's working. Patients who get better refer more. Happy patients refer more. Um, and I guess in the States, it's a little different. Only 12% of the population will even visit a chiropractor. Um, and with this Softwave, 100% of the people that are having some issues are going to want to come. They don't care what type of doctor you are, what last two letters after your last name are. So just tell me a little bit about what have you noticed about that, the people that are coming in?
Yeah, like I'm a chiropractor and I love being a chiropractor, but I will tell you that this tool is accessible to people who would never even consider going to visit with a chiropractor for sure, which has been great. And at the same time, for me, it's completely congruent with our philosophy. It is just basically turning up the innate healing ability of the body. And so it's sort of this perfect thing. It's completely congruent for us, but it's totally accessible to people that wouldn't even ever consider going to the chiropractor. So we've got a ton of people who come to visit with us for Softwave and end up becoming chiropractic patients as well, because they see, oh, okay, I see who you are. And so that happens. That's happening a lot.
And you know what's beautiful is if you can solve a problem they've had for 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, they're like, what else do I do? And you guys have just a beautiful center. Throw a pitch out there, the name of your clinic in Calgary.
Natural Way Chiropractic in Calgary. It's an awesome spot. Yeah, we
Yeah,
love
and
it.
you have that building. It's a beautiful building, and I really enjoyed it. And the thing I loved most is when I asked you to get together 10 to 14 of the worst patients. I mean, you had them lined up within days. And I think that soft launch that we do for your soft wave, we spent 4 hours, we trained your staff, we got your team 100% engaged in understanding and believing in it. And I think it just took off from there. And it's just like, just add humans.
It was super valuable for us that time. And we're 4 months in now, I think, maybe not quite 4 months in. And the most important thing to me about having this tool is the results that it's getting for people. I want them to get great results. And that's happening. But from a business standpoint, if I put my CEO hat on, that's been incredible. We were in the process of doing this, but thank goodness we needed another doctor to help us service all the initial visits that we're seeing with Softwave. So we have sort of had that horsepower come on board to help us. And that's been really important because we're seeing a huge number of new patients for Softwave. So it's great.
Yeah, I always said you'd need a bigger building if you could keep all your. I was really good for 25 years at getting new patients,
Yeah.
but the last 5 years I've been really great at keeping them. And I think you've done that for 2 decades, and you're able to see 700, 800 patients a week, which is phenomenal in the systems that have to be involved in that. What do you say to that philosophical chiropractor out there that's like, all I need is my hands? And we were that way when we got out of school, and oh, BJ and Dee would be so upset at you. Like, what do you say to them that you're having this type of modality?
I would say come to our office, come visit, come see what we're doing. Pick up the phone and call me. I'm happy to get on a call because that's my identity. I'm a chiropractor, and but I can see the benefit of this tool enhancing the innate intelligence of the body and its ability to heal. So it isn't a conflict. I don't view it as a conflict at all.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, you've been in healthcare and a chiropractor 2+ decades. Um, After 4 months, what you're noticing is people heal faster,
Yeah.
right? And that's why wouldn't you want that? I mean, and I always say if BJ and Dee were alive, they'd be utilizing this technology because of the diagnostic capabilities. Like,
Yeah.
within 3 or 4 minutes, if that new patient is a candidate just by the mapping session that we do in this discovery session.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been pretty cool.
And the near immediate relief that they're getting. So, I mean, in 30 years, I've never seen anything with a higher patient acceptance rate. You were over 98% on your existing patients recommending it to. I'd love to see where your numbers are with new patients walking in off the street, what your conversion is. Then
We're hovering about just under 90%.
even with new patients walking in on it, that's phenomenal. Because,
Yeah.
most I've seen it, as high as 70 with new patients and as low as 44.
Yeah.
So if you're in that range, that's where you want to be. And again, there's going to be some opportunities to jump on some coaching calls. And I think in the future, I think we could all learn from what you've been doing with your team up there. So thank you so much for taking out the time and spending a little time with us, and really appreciate it. Keep up the great work up there.
Thank you, brother. My pleasure. I'll help any way I can.
Thanks.